Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the final chapter of Dirty Numbers. I know it's been a crazy ride. Thank you for sticking with me this far. Just to recap, this is a true story. It happened. Every word that I took down was verbatim. I just wanted to capture the 6 months of hell that I went through and present it to you. You're welcome. Anyways, final chapter, chapter 6, episode 1, takes place March 4th, 1991, back in the old days. Here we go. "My cock's a foot," said a man in a matter-of-fact voice. "Say what?" I asked. "My cock's a foot," he repeated. "You mean it looks like a foot instead of a penis?" I inquired. This call was actually kind of different for a change. Instead of a panting, gasping, ejaculating waste of God's talent, I was talking to a possible freak of nature. "No, you dumb bitch," he spat out. "It's a foot long, 12 long inches." Instant interest deflation on my part. "First of all," I said in a real hoity-toity voice, "you're calling Canada. We use the metric system, like most of the rest of the world. Thus my confusion when you said the word foot." I wasn't done. He called me a bitch. "Secondly, you said it was 12 long inches. How does that differ from 12 short inches? And thirdly, I highly doubt it is 12 centimeters, never mind inches. Would you like to place an order?" He hung up on... Excuse the dogs in the background. He hung up on me, and I gently placed the phone down and slyly looked into the main office. The sex shop was divided into 3 rooms: the washroom, the spacious main room that had big couches and fancy desks and maybe used once every 2 weeks, and the tiny, crammed receptionist office. My sanctum had a huge desk covered with thousands, maybe millions of file cards. There was a small magazine rack, obviously reserved for the bored day shift, and the dreadful swivel chair. I'm sure it was the first piece of office equipment bought for the place. Never mind the nondescript color, it had also a strange, off-putting odor. Tomato sauce mixed with hair products with a touch of skunk. The reason for the sly look is because I didn't want Harold to know I was being rude to a customer. Hence the delicate phone handling. Today was a strange day right from the start of my shift, my special shift. I was scheduled to work my usual 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., but Harold called me just as I was getting off work this morning. "Yes, Jessie, instead of coming in at your usual time, we need you to come in for the 3 to 11 shift," he told me. So much of even thinking of asking first, I was flat out being told that I would be changing my shift. Oh well, I didn't think I had much planned anyways, but catching some much-needed sleep. "That's Tracy's shift," I pointed out. "I know," he said, "but Tracy looks too intense." "Huh?" I asked. Somehow Harold always made me feel reduced to an idiot. He was the mighty lord, and I was the sorry serf. "What do looks have to do with shifts?" "We are interviewing for new receptionists," he informed me. Maybe my job was in jeopardy. Oh, joy! "Gabrielle will be here in the morning and you will be here in the afternoon. Wear your best office attire." If I had guts, I might have informed him that the office attire is purely unnecessary for this job. The only person to see us is the next change of shift, and very occasionally Harold. But that was it. If Harold dropped into his office, he wanted to see his working girls dressed like office workers. I may have also added that if I were Tracy, I might be taking his comments the wrong way. Yeah, Tracy had huge ear spacers, and she had piercings in places I don't think were meant to be pierced, and she was quite a hefty gal. But she worked here for real, and whoever got hired was bound to meet her eventually. The calls were still coming in slow, and I acted the part of an eager office receptionist, answering the phone quickly, even with a smile on my face. I was quick to pick up my pen and make my important notations: shaved pussy, anal, and look busy. Every now and then I'd see an applicant and we'd make eye contact. Every girl seemed eager to land this position. Judging by the giggle, I can tell each time just when Harold told them what kind of business this really was. It was just like my interview. And just like me, none fled for their lives. Scene. Hell, oh my God, I just came, some lunatic shouted at me. Oh, come on, I beefed. I didn't even get hello out of my mouth. That's not fair. Oh, the guy sighed. I needed that. Yeah, but you gotta pay for it. And with that, and my back to Harold, I pressed the little red disconnect button with all the energy my index finger could muster. Scene. I had almost forgotten about the ridiculous couple hours between 4 and 6 p.m. Besides dealing with the calls that meant real money for this business, I also had to deal with the bad boys. Literally, bad boys who came home from school, find either their parents' credit cards or a statement lying around, and think they'll try their luck. Once they identify themselves as a new caller, and my suspicions were aroused, about the only arousal I was feeling these days, I didn't bother with the usual rigmarole. I just jumped to the credit card sting. And what credit card will you be using? Oh, MasterCard, you say. And the number? If I received a bona fide number, we moved on to the expiry date. Expiry date? There is none. Sir, haha, there must be one. Are you looking at the card? No, I'm looking at his bill. His bill? My bill. And maybe he says it 3 times, but I've already hung up. Sometimes the little leaguer has the card, complete with the expiry date. Still, I have a few tricks up my sleeve. And how does the name appear on the card? Exactly. That would be Irene Capulet. I must have dealt with 20 of these hooligans today already. I couldn't wait for their parents to get home and discipline their little angels. Scene. The main office was empty, except for Harold and the last phone sex receptionist wannabe. Harold seemed to particularly like her. They both stood up and headed my way. Harold poked his head into my workplace. Jessie, I want you to meet Sydney, he said, acting the part of a courtly employer. Sydney, this is Jessie, one of our best operators. I could tell Harold was going to hire her. I said a simple hi when she stepped in, but I tried to make my eyes send as many urgent messages as they could. Get out now! This place is pure evil! Flee! Save yourself! The only message she probably registered was that I may need glasses. The phone rang, which meant the world had come to a standstill while I hoped to deal with a paying customer. For the sake of Harold, who had also now stepped into the office, I put on my most syrupy voice. Hello, can I help you? Said Aunt Jemima. Jess, it's Jimmy. Are you serious? Jimmy knew the main rule of this Hitler-esque place. No personal calls. And here was Harold, not 12 short inches away, looking all proud of my opening line. Sydney, standing directly behind me, her breasts brushing the back of my neck, leaned forward, eager to see me in action. What to do? I played dumb. Yes, we have many ladies available. The cost is $55 per 30 minutes of unrestricted conversation. Jess! The voice seemed to boom over the phone line. Maybe loud enough for a big boss to hear. I need to talk to you. Forget it, Jimmy. No chance. At least take the subliminal hint. I went on, making my voice smoother than a baby's bottom. Ugh, even that common phrase can be used in this damn place. It's payable by major credit card, I said, and then paused. Oh, he hung up. I lied as I heard Jimmy call my name one more time, frustration in his voice. I guess he didn't have a credit card. You do have a wonderful voice on the telephone, Harold congratulated me. I gave an insipid smile. What did that voice get me but more exuberance from the penis pounders? Well, Sydney, I will be in touch by tomorrow. By then we will have made our choice. Awesome! Sydney smiled wildly. It was nice to meet you, Jessie. She stuck around for a second to admire the way I managed to smile brightly, but with forlorn eyes. Then she was gone. I was left alone in the office with Harold. It's funny how there was one less person, yet the room somehow managed to feel more claustrophobic. I prayed for a pervert to call, and as usual in this business, it didn't take long. Harold just stood there while I took the call. Hi, is this the erotic toilet? A hopeful voice asked me. Sure is, I agreed. And would the ladies mind while I masturbated during the call? He further inquired. Sir, it is very, very, very common, I assured him. So far, this call was going his way. And do you need a credit card for this? Oh, definitely, I cooed, knowing this was the end of the line for him. He hung up. Harold's presence was making me queasy, but it could also be the extra liter of musk cologne he had doused himself in for the interviews. Or maybe it was because I had been reprimanded once, busted by the phone taps, and what they got me for was nothing compared to what they were going to find. I kept anxiously waiting for the other shoe to drop. Since the phone had now decided to be silent for a moment, I swiveled my chair around and faced my stone-faced boss. So, how did the interviews go? I asked, just making conversation. No matter how they went, the sex shop needed a new receptionist, so one of these girls was getting hired. Very well, Harold replied. I thought the last one was pretty. And he left it at that. Pretty what, Harold? Pretty educated? Pretty qualified? Pretty desperate for a job? Oh, so maybe she'll get the position, I wondered aloud. We'll see, said Harold. There are 3 or 4 good ones. The phone rang again, praise Allah. I swiveled at the speed of sound and grabbed the phone. Hello, I said, the phone not even yet to my ear. Can I help you? Yeah, how much would it be to fuck one of your sluts over the phone? I took a small beat just to compose myself. Even though I heard that phrase weekly, it always sounded so disgusting, so crude. Still, the professional receptionist went into her routine. Just after I said the $55 part, he growled at me. $55? I can pay that on the street. He disconnected. I turned to Harold and shrugged. He didn't care for the price, I told him. Harold looked at me a moment and then said, Jessie. That was all he said. Every innard inside of me turned to jelly. My armpits began to weep. With that one word, I knew the jig was up. I played my usual character with him. Dumb. Yes, I wheezed out. Sure enough, in between interviews, I was listening to a few of the phone taps, Harold said in his level voice. I still played mute, as if I had no idea what was coming, as if I never did call Harold every bad name from A to Z. I just looked up at him, waiting for that axe to drop. Harold met my gaze. The clients really seem to enjoy talking to you, he related. Sometimes I think they'd rather talk to you than the phone mates. I gave the most phony of laughs. It was almost like the Archie comics where Betty or Veronica would say, tee-hee. Then, joy of joys, the phone rang and I warmly greeted the caller. And then, even better, it was a regular customer, Jerry Polito, my bestiality buddy. Oh, he'd won a lottery, $3 million, and the first thing he does, pays off his debt to the phone sex company. He was bad like a bad rash. No, let me say that again. He was back like a bad rash. Harold saw that I had found the Holy Grail, the caller who was going to make the company some cash. He tapped my shoulder and I quickly glanced at him. He sketched a wave goodbye and I toodalooed him back. Even though I was only halfway through this shift, the fact that Harold had been here the entire time had just exhausted me. Add to the mix the fact that Jimmy was insane to call me at work. Stir in some stress from the asinine phone taps. And blend in the reality that I went to bed at 9 a.m. but I had to get up at 1 to come back to this I put a stop to my building rant of self-pity. I had work to do. I had to find a phone mate who could bleat like a sheep. Scene. Okay, we're going to end chapter 6, episode 1 right here. And I'll be back. And I'm glad you guys are with me this much. There's going to be 3 more episodes to come. So see you soon. Bye for now.